I met a Gypsy.
Like I say, it's easier when you're not in the top 10 to do that because you're chasing dollars in a different way. And I need to be able to capture the same sort of grab from the top 10 riders who also then want to come and really, really grow this together. But I only need 4 or 5 of them to come on that journey with me. And we'll do some incredible stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I said this to Kenny. Oh, I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was in the UK at the Birmingham round.
Right.
And it was basically like I was trying to get across like you could literally be the dude that just like globally puts a sport on your back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can still race the AMA stuff. Like you want to be Supercross is what you love doing.
Yeah.
You're German, great looking, awesome with the fans, amazing talent. Like you've got all of the attributes to be the kind of guy that can put the sport on their back and really take it global. Like you're right. You really don't need too many people. Like you need a really core group of dudes that get it, understand, and are down to
beat each other.
Yeah, and are down to graft to make it work too, you know?
Yeah. And look, really, really, really grateful for Kenny. I think he's been a stand-up ambassador for something that he took a big leap with a great agent that did him a great deal.
Yeah, I was going to say there's also a really good agent there. I definitely would have...
they got a good deal.
Would have tight the screws a bit. But that's
they wouldn't have got that deal with me. But
that's
they
his
got
job.
a good deal. And I respect them. Steve and I have had a conversation about it. Like, I massively respect the deal that they got.
But they need it at the position to, like, I guess, knowing the version of World Supercross from the start as well. Like, they needed to do that.
Yeah,
and
they had to de-risk themselves.
They needed a big name that they could carry them through for those few years.
I'm also, I can't tell you what a great guy I thought Eli was last year.
He's unreal, eh?
Like, he obviously came in Cardiff 2 years ago, but he walked in, he's an absolute superstar, and, you know, people saw him as a superstar, and he was in the paddock. He was just such a great ambassador for World Supercross. He's such a great ambassador. I say this because, you know, I am still incredibly grateful for those that have supported us on the journey so far. That's teams and riders and so on under much more difficult circumstances. And Eli, particularly in 2024, didn't have to make the decision that he did to come and race, and he did. And we are incredibly grateful for that. He is a stand-up great guy.
Yeah, no, 100%. You guys got very lucky as well in where he landed in terms of what happened during his season. Like, he needed to rate. Like, there was so much.
The things happen at the right time.
That was just the perfect, like, you guys needed that. He needed that. And that's another feather in the cap, or that's like another reason for this to exist.
Yeah.
You know, like there should be these places that people can go for various reasons.
Yeah.
Because the sport is so out of control in a way. Like, look at that Eli this year at San Diego. That's maybe the best I've ever seen him ride.
Yeah,
and I've been watching him ride personally for over 10 years. That was fucking incredible. 2 weeks later, out of the series.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like we are just in such an unpredictable and challenging sport that it's like there kind of needs to be, like if Eli didn't race World Supercross last year, we don't get that same dude at A1 and San Diego. Like, he needed those gate drops.
I couldn't agree more with that, right? Like, there's an interesting one. I look at that through lots of different lenses that some sports are facing, which is like, how do you get an integrated calendar? Like, in an ideal world, we'd have this big summit, right? We'd all come with like a really open mind.
You bring your guitars, a bottle of wine, some cheese.
David Luongo walks in. He's bought a lovely bottle of Prosecco and he's got some cheese. And Feld boys all walk in and some Big Macs and
nice blanket.
Yeah,
really comfy blanket and some pillows.
I've come in. I'm sort of archetypal Brit, and I sort of bought my Swiss German owners, a bit like a Bond villain. And we've all come together as the summit. Like, how are we going to do an integrated calendar?
Yeah.
Now, that's not going to work.
That ain't ever happening.
No, so we've got to recognise what people are going to do in my off season. and in the off season from World Supercross, or how whatever lens you look at that through. Like, I look at it through the fact that my season is my season, and people have got to do something in the other X number of months, and
they look at it vice versa.
They look at it vice versa. I do think that there are enough riders and enough pieces of content that you're going to end up with these magnificent moments across the 12-month period that's going to service fans appropriately. And like you say, you're going to get the moments like you have done with Eli. And by the way, bar one mad moment, who would be the red plate?
Kenny.
Yeah. And let's be really brutally honest, his 4 weeks where he was finding his form. So he was in a slightly different arc. Like, Eli performed so well in World Supercross. Kenny found his form in World Supercross so that he just came straight out the blocks.
Yeah.
And by that moment, he's a red plate.
Yeah.
And, potentially beating Eli, whereas Eli beat him in World Supercross. This, amazing moments.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then you think about, and I know you personally don't want to rely on guys aging out of the AMA.
We don't be the MLS.
You guys becoming the retiree series. But I mean, I look at guys like Jason Anderson, loves to travel. He's actually a cultured individual.
Yeah.
He's got a super cool wife that is like crazy into fashion.
Sure.
So
I've got a series for him.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You've got a place where he can go, where his wife can enjoy their time. Justin Barsha, his wife's British.
Yeah. I think Cooper Webb's the same.
Yeah.
I think
Cooper loves to travel.
Yeah.
So you're going to have as well these guys that there's been like a hard stop.
Yeah.
Where it's like you hang on racing the AMA for as long as you can. You kind of fall off a little bit. We've got a bit of a meme of like the guys that have stayed too long and the bikes that they were on. And it's like, okay, let's just stop that. They can leave the series in the kind of as the person that they were.
Yep.
And then for different reasons, they go and they do this other series. New seats become available. There's never going to be a shortage of talent to fill these seats. Oftentimes we see these guys get displaced and their careers fall off because it's a game of musical chairs and there ain't that many fucking chairs. So I think that over the next few years, you're going to have different guys for different reasons want to be a part of your series that are still fantastic dirt bike racers. They're not in the prime of their careers, but they're by no means washed. And they're getting to have a different experience and add a different kind of value to our global ecosystem.
And I think also the lens of only so many seats in America is how does the European rider break into America as well, right? I think that's a really nice lens. So if you've got real interest from, I don't know, Kernan, whoever they be in MXGP, and they're like,
it's a great point, actually.
I want to race in the US, but the seats are not necessarily there for me. How do I get to prove that I'm going to be pretty good on a Supercross bike?
Well, the barrier to entry is so high here too.
Yeah, correct. And we're honest about what our tracks are. Our tracks are not as challenging.
Don't know, bro. You see the finish line jump at Perth? Fucking hell.
Yeah, true. Right. But
that was savage.
Yeah, it was. I remember Kenny before it. It's like he was like, I've noticed and I respect it from a different sporting background, but Kenny is very particular about the track and beforehand he was very particular about that bit. But my point to that is that maybe the entry point of our tracks gives
just
opportunity
a little bit less.
For somebody to go, no, I'm going to go and state my claim. Or there's the other piece to this, which is that, an MXGP rider comes off the end of his MXGP season because, we finish after MX of Nations and they go, no, you know what? I'm only going to do 7 Supercross races a year and I'm going to blend that with MXGP and it's going to give me the chance to race against the others. And also from the way that, you can probably get paid in World Supercross compared to some guys getting paid in MXGP. It's an opportunity there. So I do think that there's like an in and an out. There is absolutely some people at certain points in their career reference where they need to be with their manufacturers. And then there are others that are going, well, hang on, where can this be as my opportunity and my bridge to meaning something else? Because, there's not always a Prado. That seat's not always available in quite the same way.
I hadn't really thought about the MXGP version of it. I've definitely been very American rider focus, because I guess traditionally that's who
course.
races Supercross. But I mean, yeah, like you think about Lucas Coonan. I mean, how sick would it be to see Hurlings do a Supercross season? Tim Geyser.
Tim Geyser would be incredible.
Dude, that excites me. Like those guys rip at, Paris and whenever they get to...
and we, hey, look, we've got wildcards that I've got to be clever in the way I spend my wildcards, right? So I've got a superstar rider fund and deployment of capital. I want to drive in, IP into teams, all of those things. But equally, what opportunity is there to put Tim Geyser versus Eli Tomac on a Supercross track somewhere in the world? And I promise you, that's content that people engage with.
Yeah,
and then you go back to
100%.
that microtransaction piece again, and I go, right, okay, we're speculating big time here, but suddenly like CDR and Eli push out, I'll be racing this week. Tim Geyser comes out and says, I'll be racing this week on a Honda. You push that through on the micro stream, and suddenly, we're going, where in the world do you get to see this? Equally, it's part of the World Championship, but where do you get to see Tim versus Eli? It's
a race within a race.
Race within a race. And suddenly 50,000 people go, yeah, I want to watch that. Okay, great. $2.50.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the opportunity that this sport has. And I talk about what happened in the past with World Supercross. Was also a moment that the evolution of digital sport has definitely been the last 18 months. So it is slightly easier for me to talk about what do I mean about IP and how do you monetize consumer? How do you create global revenue and not just ticketing revenue? Whereas, 3 years ago, even 3 years ago when World Supercross first set out, despite having the OTT platform and stuff, things were much more underdeveloped. So the costs were still the same. They were still having to engage the teams, but ultimately their revenues, they put on world-class events. The event in Melbourne for World Supercross was brilliant. But the revenues associated there were ultimately localized revenues against global costs.
Yeah.
What we must do is, yes, recognize global local revenues, but what we must drive is global revenues and global IP-based revenues and engage the system to do that. And the way that I want to do that and to get everybody on side is to share those revenues. But that's really just because I see that as the opportunity to get people on our side and do some of that work for us. But, we're just talking now about, I think there's also an amazing opportunity about what does the documentary series look like for World Supercross. I think if you look at it through the lens of a domestic series, it is tailored then really for a domestic audience. I think if World Supercross has got riders from all over the world, MXGP, AMA, Australia, wherever, taking place all over the world, and you're doing legacy events alongside governments at tracks, all of those things, you've got an opportunity to tell some cool stories.
100%.
And we have a history of the second most watched sports documentary on Netflix ever in Sunderland Till I Die, put together by Full Well 73, and it goes Drive to Survive, Sunderland Till I Die.
Wow.
Yeah, and
when did that come out?
Sunderland Till I Die is a 4-series. Funny enough, actually, our acquisition of Sunderland is season 4, so we can't really take too much for it, but we do talk about it a lot because obviously it's now a massive part of who we are.
Yeah.
But it's the second most watched sports documentary of all time on Netflix.
Yeah.
Put together by Full Well 73, who are like one of the biggest production houses in the world.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.